And they are able to radicalize and target and exploit a generation of young boys, in particular, away from healthy masculinity and into an insecure masculinity that requires the domination of others who are poorer, browner, darker, or a different gender than them. And that is why they are resonating online, because they are appealing to the most basest and worst parts of human nature to divide.
Racist gonna racist, folks. News at 11. The racists are going to racist on Charlie Kirk Remembrance Day. Charlie Kirk was a racist. He was a bigot. The young Republican leaders are behaving just like their martyr and king, Charlie Kirk, who said that the Civil Rights Act was a mistake, who said that Martin Luther King was a horrible person, who said that black people were better off during segregation, whose one of his last posts on Twitter was, Islam is the sword used by the left to slit the throat of America. That Charlie Kirk, who got the Presidential Medal of Honor today by Donald Trump, our commander in Cankled chief, who, by the way, with his neck vagina, if you saw on the Time magazine cover, his so-called ceasefire just blew up. This pathetic racist piece of shit is the model of king and daddy of these young Republicans. And I don't know about you, Don and Jen, I've been poor before. I lost everything in my 20s. When I had economic anxiety, I never, not even once, in private or in public, said, I love Hitler. I know about y'all, when I had economic anxiety, I didn't feel the sudden urge to all of a sudden start promoting anti-Semitic conspiracies and throwing my enemies in the gas chambers and using the N-word and calling gay people the F-word. That is what these people, these young leaders did repeatedly, not just once, Jen and Don, repeatedly. And they laughed at each other and they applauded each other. This is who they are. This is racism. White supremacy is the enduring sin of America. White supremacy and greed, racism and capitalism. And until it is tackled, until it is confronted, until it is purged, we will see the manifestation of white supremacy and greed in the form of Donald Trump, JD Vance, Charlie Kirk, and these young leaders. And may I just say, maybe these young white conservative men need mental health. And if you are the master race and claim that you're the master race, work out. Have you seen some of the photos of these people? Work out and also wash your ass. Sorry, thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
He is married to a woman of Indian descent.
Yes.
He has mixed race children.
Yes.
So to all of the MAGA voters out there, if this man will not defend his wife and will not defend his kids, do you think he gives a crap about you or anything to do with you?
Boy. So once again, we got to talk about Jennifer Welch, the superstar of the left, okay? The Joe Rogan of the left. And the only reason I'm saying that is because I've literally heard leftists say that she's their Joe Rogan, right? Which really tells you how much leftists don't really understand Joe Rogan at all, okay? They've been desperately searching for a propaganda mouthpiece that is going to move voters for them, right? And they really do believe that this woman is who they need, right? Because she's so uncut and raw, right? As a white leftist wine mom, right? Who's fed up with Trump and, white men and, all of this stuff. You guys know the talking points for these people, okay? The problem is that people like her are actually going to be a turnoff, right? They're actually going to turn people off from voting Democrat if Democrats decide that people like her should represent them, okay? And this clip right here that I want to play is exactly what I'm talking about, because Botox Rogan here is going to basically go off on JD Vance for refusing to condemn the group chat messages that got leaked from the young Republicans in which they were telling jokes. I don't know the context of the jokes, right? I don't know the context of the messages because the full conversations have not been released to the public. Nobody really knows. These are just, again, jokes. And JD Vance said, listen, we're not going to grovel to the mob, right? The same mob that celebrated the assassination of Charlie Kirk, okay? The same mob that refuses to call for Jay Jones, who we do know the whole context of the text that he sent privately, declaring that he wants to kill Republicans and their children, right? We know, okay, what this guy said, and these people are refusing to condemn it. They're refusing to tell him to drop out. He's like, no, we're not going to grovel to you people, right? We have nothing to prove. Ultimately, at the end of the day, young kids, they say stuff like this in group chats, right? I'm pretty sure 90% of active group chats in this country, people are saying some wild stuff, right? I mean, that's just how it works in group chats, right? If you've ever been in one, people say wild stuff, okay? And I don't think that people should lose their livelihoods for saying wild stuff in group chats. Again, if it's not a serious, actual serious threat of violence, which again, as far as I know, there was none of that in the group chat. But again, this woman's reaction, basically calling out JD Vance as a white man who is married to a Indian woman and has mixed race kids. Apparently that is supposed to determine how he reacts to this type of situation. Take a look.
This is what JD Vance was saying about, you know, he thinks that the real story is who leaked this and ruining the lives of these young people.
Sorry.
I'm 41 years old. I have 3 kids. You know, I grew up in a different world, right? Where not most of the stupid things that I did when I was a teenager and a young adult, they're not on the internet. Like, I'm going to tell my kids, especially my boys, don't put things on the internet. Like, be careful with what you post. If you put something in a group chat, assume that some scumbag is going to leak it in an effort to try to cause you harm or cause your family harm.
Okay, JD Vance is married to a brown woman. He has mixed race children, and that is his response to this. Horrible racism. It's beyond locker room talk. I'm a white woman that has lived in a red state my entire life, and I can tell you when I'm around white people, they test the racist water. They test it on people like you all the time, and they'll try to say off-color things. I put my hand up. It absolutely happens, and you're fortunate that maybe you haven't experienced this.
Can I just say, literally this August, a white person said the N-word in front of me.
The Vice President of the United States. These
were not kids.
Horrible.
These were grown men.
Some of them are 40 years old.
If they committed a crime, they would be prosecuted as adults. They were not children.
Well, look, I mean,
they're not stupid kids. They can
They're not kids.
They're not kids, and a couple. Look, a couple of people just had their.
So I think this conversation is exactly what I'm talking about when I tell you guys about how the white liberal woman, right, is actually, they're actually ones that are running the Democrat Party, right? It is the white liberal woman who believes that she's in charge and that she has to tell everybody how to think, okay? Because again, ultimately at the end of the day, a lot of these black liberal women, right, they don't have their own original thoughts, right? They get their talking points and their thoughts from the white liberal woman. The white liberal woman tells them how to think, okay? Because this white liberal woman on CNN basically tried to tell this black man what his experience is as a black person in this country, right? Just like she's trying to tell JD Vance, hey, as a white man with a Indian wife and mixed race kids, you're supposed to feel a certain type of way about these group chat messages, right? You're supposed to be offended. You're supposed to pearl clutch because of your race, because of who you're married to. And then the worst part about it is that you got the black liberal woman on the panel talk about some, yeah. I heard the N-word the other day. I just heard the N-word in August. A white person said the N-word around me, right? Which, you know, did that really happen? Who knows? But this is what I'm talking about in regards to who's calling the shots, right? The white liberal woman said jump. The black liberal woman said how high, right? White liberal woman says, yeah, all these white people that live around me are racist as hell. Black man says, I don't know, right? I feel like I came up in a different time. I don't know about that. Black liberal woman comes in and says, I heard the N-word just last month, right? You can't make this up. It's exactly what I'm talking about. When you understand the hierarchy, everything makes sense. These black liberal women, they're falling in line behind the white liberal woman. That's it. They don't have any original thoughts, right? They're just regurgitating whatever the white liberal woman told them to say, right? That they feel the same way the white liberal woman feel, right? That's all it is, okay? But these are the same people that'll turn around and tell you, well, see, I'm not racist, right? I'm fighting against racism. But yet, this is the same woman who made inflammatory comments about race. Like, for example, she didn't seem too happy to have a black neighbor that was MAGA, right? She was happy to have a black neighbor until she found out that the black neighbor doesn't have her same political beliefs.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you have any family members that are MAGA?
No.
You'll get the biggest kick out of this, Monet, and I don't think Pumps knows this. So during this most recent election, my husband, I live in I would say a 99.9% white neighborhood. Okay. So my husband comes home from work and he goes, well, the weirdest thing just happened. the house 2 blocks south of us just put up 2 MAGA signs in their front yard, and they're black.
No!
How's that?
No!
Or the only black family that lives in this godforsaken whiteness, and they're fucking MAGA. He goes, it's just such a disappointment to me.
No!
Yes. And they had 2. They're a corner house, and they had... And I was just like, because I remember when they moved in, Roman, my son that told me, the prom send-offs of the culture, he was like, I love this. We need to have more color in this neighborhood. And I go, I agree. That family popped up MAGA signs.
Black Republicans is something I will never understand.
I agree.
So this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about, right? This is exactly what I'm talking about, okay? This white liberal woman, white leftist woman, let's be more accurate. This white leftist woman, okay, clearly thinks that people should have political beliefs based off their skin color and their race, right? Apparently, if you are a white person and you don't support the Democrat Party, if you don't support the white liberal woman, then you are a racist, okay? And if you're black and you don't support the white liberal woman and her ideas, the white leftist woman and her ideas, then you are a disappointment, right? It was disappointing for her to have a black neighbor that supported Trump, right? But these people claim, well, we just love black people. We love you for being black. They don't love you for being black. They love you for voting Democrat. That's why they love you, right? That's what she's saying. That's exactly what she's saying. And this is what I try to tell these people. This is what I try to tell folks. The real racists, right, are the people running around screaming that they're not racist. But these are the people who actually are the real racists in this country that are dividing this country racially. It is people like this woman.
I've had it with white people that triple trumped.
Yeah.
That have the nerve and the audacity to walk into a Mexican restaurant, a Chinese restaurant, an Indian restaurant, go to perhaps their gay hairdresser. I don't think you should be able to enjoy anything but Cracker Barrel. And if you want to triple Trump and you want to browbeat DEI and you want to browbeat gay people and you want to browbeat black people as you've been doing for 400 years, and you want to browbeat this generation of immigrants that come over here and open up businesses earnestly, pay their taxes, you want to demonize them and call them rapists and felons and all this shit when the felon is the teeny weeny mushroom cock piece of shit, Kankle's McTaco tits at the top of the ticket. I have fucking had it from top to bottom. White people that triple Trump should be banned, boycotted from enjoying the best thing that America has to offer, which is multiculturalism. Get your fat asses out of the Mexican restaurant. Get your fat asses over to Cracker Barrel, because nobody wants to see your fucking smug ass, teeny weeny, pink arm, big gut around. Nobody wants to see that shit.
Yeah, so again, if this is y'all fighter, right? If this is the fighter for the left, right? If this is who the Democrat Party should be listening to, be my guest, right? Be my guest, okay? Because this is going to lead to Democrats losing even more, right? Again, what Democrats don't understand, what these leftists don't understand is that you have to get white people to vote for you, right? In order to win elections, you gotta win the white vote, right? Winning the white vote might be the most important thing that you can do to win an election. And when you have this type of racialized rhetoric, where, again, even as a black person, I'm turned off because you got this liberal white woman telling me how to think, right? Telling me, right, what type of experience or the type of experience that I'm living, right, as a black person, right? She's trying to lecture people like me on that. That's already offensive, right? But she is also basically telling anybody who doesn't agree with her political opinions based off race that you're a bad person, right? You are a bad person, okay? And that is the exact type of politics that led to Kamala Harris losing. That type of toxic identity politics, which this woman she's drowning in, right? She's drowning in the toxicity. Again, leftists, they believe, oh, she's a straight shooter, right? She just telling it like it is. It's like, no. She is turning people off. And then these same people will boo-hoo on and go, well, why can't we win the white vote? Why don't young white men want to vote for us? Well, because of stuff like this, right? Because of stuff like this type of rhetoric. And the crazy part about it is that whole conversation, right, was also related to AOC talking about how, well, young men are radicalized, right? Young men are radicalized by the GOP. What about young women? What about the radicalization of young women? Because that woman sounds radicalized, right? And there are a lot of radicalized women like her, right? That's the type of radicalization we really should be talking about, because she's a radical woman. And these radical women, these are the women that are leading the Democrat Party. And again, that is the reason why they're rapidly losing men. You're not going to win the male vote. You're not going to win the white vote. You're not going to win any of these major voting blocks with this type of rhetoric, right? So again, if they want to continue with this, right, be my guest. I think that they're going to start turning off blacks, right? They're going to turn off black people. They're going to turn off Hispanic. They're going to turn off a lot of people with this type of stuff, right? Nobody wants to hear that. But if this is your mascot, if this is who you guys are putting out there is a representation of what you believe, right, of your party, great, cool, right? Do what you got to do. Again, you don't have any mainstream Republican figures that are talking like that, right? Anybody that talks like that on the right is considered to be fringe, right? People who talk like that on the left, they get platform on MSNBC. Can you think of anybody on the right that Fox News platforms that talks like that, right, on the right? I can't think of anybody. But MSNBC will platform that type of radical leftist on their platform. Because, again, that type of radicalism from the left is normalized. See, that's the issue. Left-wing extremism is platformed, right, on mainstream media as if it's normal. But so-called right-wing extremism is not, right? They say, no, see, we can't platform this. This is dangerous, right? Even though the left-wing rhetoric is leading to people actually losing their lives, right? So again, I'm just saying that if Democrats want to double and triple down on this type of toxic identity politics, right, that, you know, this woman is spewing everywhere on CNN, on MSNBC, great. She's going to turn off so many people. She's going to turn off so many voters. Yes, make her your mascot, right? Go with her, go with AOC, right? Go with Zoran Mondami. Yeah, that's the coalition y'all need if you want to win, right? That's what you need to do if you want to win, right? I don't think so. I don't think that this is going to lead Democrats to the promised land, but who knows, right? We will see. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.